Hello everyone, this is Jason with Pine Company, and today I am interviewing Mr. Dave Werner, as you can see above. So yeah, basically the community asked a whole heap of questions, and we are now going to get those questions answered. So, with further ado, the first question is asked by At Most Important, asking, when was Atmosphere first created? Not first released. When did you start first creating it?
We first started creating it. The initial concept started in October of 2006 when I was first flying out to San Francisco with the opportunity to start it. And then actual creation of it really started mainly in 2007 when I first started the job. I started in January 2007 and decided to, that's when it really came to shape. There were a bunch of ideas being thrown around, and Atmosphere was one of those ideas. And in the end, it sounded like the idea that had the most promise. There were a bunch of other games that we could have made, actually, MMO games and different things. There were all sorts of ideas being thrown around, but Atmosphere, the idea of creative gameplay, seemed like the most interesting thing. And for me, it's sort of something I've always wanted to do some sort of game that has creative abilities in it, and I think it's certainly done that. So I'd say the initial idea started in 2006, but the actual production started in January 07.
Okay. And the second question is asked by Telemac. What direction do you want Atmosphere to head in? Not in the next few months or the next year, but do you want it to become a massive blob of horrible and awesome all jumbled together, or just stay a small, close-knit community?
I think I'd like it to be bigger. But I still want it to have a smaller community feel. I think that that's something that could be done with, just with the organization or with lobbies or with rooms or things like that. There's ways to make guilds, teams, whatever. There's ways to make it feel like a smaller, tight-knit group. But I think the more people we have in Atmosphere, the better the game is going to be, because people are just going to push each other that much more to make better levels and to compete more in the leaderboards. And I think we're just going to see some really cool stuff pop out. You look at the best designers that we have now, imagine that times 10, and there would never be any shortage of, great levels to play. So I'm hopeful that, in a year from now, we are, not, the usual 100 users online, but, several 100,000 users. And I think that's our goal is to move in that direction, is to be bigger. If we stay small, it's really going to be just a niche product, and it's never really going to go anywhere, I think. So we need to try to cater to as big an audience as possible and make it as appealing to as many people as possible.
I do have one question. Lately I've been seeing up in the top area where it says like 900 and some odd people are currently online. Do you know what that problem is?
Yeah, when we switched to the new site design, there was a bug that basically says if a user is idle, it's not logging them out. And so what's happening is a bunch of users are just accumulating, and it keeps on going and going, and doesn't log them out until, several hours later. So you're seeing a huge number because of that. But we're working on fixing that. We fixed it, and then it came back with the latest website change. So it's just the way that the database, the system, deals with who's online and who's not. So it'll be fixed shortly, though.
Okay. The next question, asked by Obi Doby, which is, will version 1.0.0 mean that we'll get out of beta, or will there be things like version 1 beta, version 2 beta, etc., and release candidate 1, 2, 3, etc.?
All the numbering system is done by the Buenos Aires team. I'm not sure when they're deciding to go to 1.000 whatever, I think that will most likely be when we make that decision. That's probably going to be when we feel that the game is at a relatively complete beta state. Right now, with multiplayer not working, with a lot of the bugs with the website and things like that, there's still a lot of things that we need to work on before I think we can call it a 1.0 product. Once we get all those things fixed and figure it out, which might be a matter of months, we'll move to 1.0. My guess is that'll happen before the end of the year, but again, it's not in my hands. The development team takes care of that.
Okay. Will you let April be introduced on an Atmosphere mailbox? And what was the wedding like? Was there cake? P.S. Show off your wedding ring more, please. I have not seen it much, only parts of it. System.
Is April going to be on a mailbox episode? Is that what someone asked?
That's what System asked, yes.
All right. Probably not. I try to keep my personal life and business life separate. Yeah. She's done some of the sound effects and voices for the female characters. So when the female character, some of the noises and when she falls and stuff like that, that's actually April screaming and stuff like that. The wedding went well, and my wedding ring's pretty simple. It's nothing, not blinged out. I like to keep things simple. So that's that.
Okay. Who are your best friends at Minor Studios, at other places? Do the daft.
Who are my best friends in Minor Studios? Martin's the one that I met the longest time ago, 3 years ago or so, and so we're probably the closest. I talk to him every single day on Skype or whatever, and it's But all those guys down there in Buenos Aires are my friends, and we are constantly talking back and forth between things. There's always emails and IMs and Skype and whatever going on throughout the day. So even though I'm in San Francisco and they're down there, it's there's a mix of stuff. I'd say I'm on good terms with everybody. If in the Atmosphere community, I feel like I'm friends with a lot of people. I try to be friendly to everyone, and some people aren't friendly back. That's okay, and just try my best. And again, I just try to be as nice as possible, and I'm not going to ever be able to please everyone, but I'll try my best.
Okay. What's the name of the songs you use in your Jumpstart videos, and will they be in Atmosphere? Lysander 789.
Those songs, a lot of those songs are songs that I just made in GarageBand, just fooling around, which is how I made the original music for the downloadable version of Atmosphere. Basically just loop tracks and Apple loops and things like that I'm throwing together. The main one that I think a lot of people have heard that plays in a lot of the Mailbox videos, and it's it has a cool drum beat and some strings and some, I think, like a harp in the background. That's something that's one I use a lot. That's my favorite one, and so it's sort of the more iconic Atmosphere theme that I use. There's a possibility. The thing is, it's not very mastered very well. It's the levels are very not as professional as they could be. So I think if I were to add into the game or something like that, it would need a little professional help to get it to a level where it's better.
Okay. What is the area in square inches of your most discolored table in your house? Turkey Lurkey.
If I had $1 for every time someone asked me that question, he's asking for the square inches of the most discolored table.
That's what the page shows.
All right, I believe you. I have this table here in the other room that I used in grad school when I was doing art projects and stuff, that has a lot of scratches and stuff on it. I'd say it's probably, let's see, that looks like about 4 feet by, that's about 5 feet by 2 feet. So do the math. That's how big that is. 5 feet, 6 feet, 6 feet by 3 feet, something like that. So that is, I'm glad someone asked me that question, because that's really dependent on the future of Atmosphere, is the square foot or the inches of a table. Good question. Great. Thanks.
Okay. I'd like to know if the future pack is a high priority. I know now you're trying to get NPCs and Bungees ready, but I'd like to know how the future pack is going. We fan Junior.
Yeah, I mean it is it's we have a lot on our plate right now and a very small team that's being able to work on it. So we wish we could get everything out quickly. I really have no time frame whatsoever to say when the future pack would come out, but we are working on some concepts for that. I've seen several pieces of artwork of concepts of what's going into that, different blocks, different costumes, different weapons, things like that. So I think there's a lot of really cool ideas. It's just a matter of when we'll have the time to implement them. I would say in terms of priorities, everything's a priority right now, but I think the things that make that we really want to prioritize are the things that are just going to give the most replay value to atmosphere, things that people will be able to keep coming back to and do the most with in design mode. And I think that's why you saw like 112 new design blocks a few weeks ago. That's the type of thing that I think we really want to push, is making the game feel as fresh and interesting and cool as possible. Once those blocks came out, levels started to look really, really different, and that was awesome to see that. And I think since then we've seen a greater diversity in levels and all the different blocks. So I hope that's something that we can continue in the future.
Okay. Will you make a desktop client which loads everything from the internet? I mean a version and a small client to start from the desktop. King DJIP.
It's something we've talked about, and Unity certainly has the output ability to do that sort of thing. There's a lot of connections into the website and hosting things on our website that would have to be figured out in some way. Basically, if you have something on your desktop, you're going to have the source files, and you're going to have a lot of different things that you can manipulate that we'd have to basically look at and make sure we go through to make sure people aren't able to cheat, go in the leaderboards or give themselves special powers or things like that. We want to make sure everything's fair with our system. So, if we did something like that, it would just take some time to try to figure out. I think things in general are moving more and more online and less into the desktop. If you've seen anything out there, it's more and more things are moving into the online world. So, as computers get better and as browsers get better and internet speeds get better, it's not even going to be as much of an issue. There's going to be, the difference between browser-based gaming and desktop-based gaming will be a lot smaller. And we're taking, right now things might be a little rocky for people with older computers, but, we're trying our best. And if we get enough feedback that people really want the desktop version and they may put out good reasons for it, then we'll look into it, particularly if it's something that people feel like it's something that they would pay for, or they feel like it would be a better saying maybe the club members get or something like that. We'll see. I don't know.
Okay. Do you believe in life after love system?
Do I believe in life after love? Is that what he's trying to say? I think that's the Cher song, right? Yeah, I would, because I recently got married and I'm still alive, so I guess so. Yeah.